So our journey to where we are today began 15 years ago. We were on our honeymoon and we found an emaciated, what we thought was dead dog on the steps of a place south of Naples called La Conca del Sogno. I rushed to him, you went and got some water, and
we ordered some chicken and rice for the first time to feed him. When we were leaving the restaurant and ready to go back on the tender boat, I saw Zoe crying at the bottom of the steps and Rockster standing up on the top of the steps. And I said to her, I've forgotten something in the restaurant. So I went upstairs and picked up the dog, brought him down and gave him to Zoe and said, this is a wedding present money can't buy.
He had us at hello. Since we cancelled our honeymoon to rescue that magical street dog, the Rockster has rescued us back in so many incalculable ways. And from that day onwards, he's been our rock. And one of the things that we could never really understand is his rejection of commercial pet food. So we tried and coaxed him with so many different foods that we could, but he would reluctantly eat them or he'd find a way of escaping. And it wasn't until many years later when Sven met an expert in Germany and he explained that Rockster, as a true, genuine street dog, has a natural self-selection instinct that isn't there in many domesticated or bred dogs. And so he will naturally avoid what he perceives as harmful to him. It's why you'll never see a street dog eat chocolate from a pavement. They just won't do it. And Rockster was clearly self-selecting what he wanted to eat, and he didn't want to eat commercial pet food. At that point, but that was the sort of that seminal day when that expert also told us what was really in pet food. And, you know, I think there's life before and after that moment. Thinking also of my godfather, and who won the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 1982, but one of his theories was there's no such thing as an allergy, and that dating from the invention of penicillin, there had been an explosion in non-commutable diseases. So diseases that were autoimmune, such as believing you have an allergy, or respectively going into diabetes, or at its worst, cancer. And that was in humans. And so imagine, given what we now knew were in pet food, and taking antibiotics and using food in the way that food was supposed to nurture our bodies and our health, potentially using and nurturing the gut microbiome. We said, well, what if you took cost off the table? What if that wasn't the issue, but Rockster's the issue? And what would you put in a food that he would love to eat so he would bring back that joy of eating? And quite crucially, we wouldn't have to cook because I am literally the world's worst cook. You have Martha Stewart on one extreme and I am just that antithesis. And this wasn't meant to be a commercial pet food. This was supposed to be for Rockster. That eureka moment turned into amazement when he ate like he'd never eaten before, and B, transformed into a vitality that we'd rarely really seen with him. 2 years ago he had puppies naturally, we call the porcelain pupsters. And he may well now even be one of the oldest dogs alive, which is amazing. And he's also having a quality of life, which is still there, and you see him, you even jog with him.
People are really shocked when they learn about his age, because no one would believe that such an old dog is still as fit as Rockster is.
Just over 3 years ago, when the two of us sat down and thought, okay, well, you know, maybe we really do this, and maybe we also try and enable other dogs to enjoy what Rockster's had.
The reason I stocked the Rockster is because my journey with my own personal dog called Roxy. She is a rescue dog and she had lots of issues. The vet kept telling us to change our food, so I was constantly going for different foods, and I discovered the Rockster. And it wasn't I just decided to give it a go. I spoke to Zoe and she told me everything about the food, and it was so interesting, and it was the first time I'd come across someone who, she hadn't made the food to start a business, it was to feed her own dog. And That's a really rare story in the pet food industry. So I really trusted her, and everything she told me about the ingredients and the stories of other dogs, I just had to have it straight away.
Love lies at the heart of the Rockster story, and it truly lies at the heart of the Rockster brand. We created this food because life without Rockster was inconceivable. So the reason that we've done the packaging and the can in the way we have is because what's inside is not a normal canned food. And therefore, when you look at it from the outside, it doesn't look like a normal can. Thank you for trusting Rockster with something so important as feeding and nurturing your dog's health and life. And really know that that's a responsibility we take so seriously. And every single person who feeds Rockster becomes part of our family too, even if it's just a treat or occasionally or as a topper onto other foods. Welcome to the Rockster family.